What's up, guys? Welcome back. I made a few videos recently about my everyday carry, sort of the things that I carry on my person every day that I use in my day-to-day life. One of those items is this, my wallet. And my wallet obviously isn't so useful in and of itself, but what it has in it is pretty important to sort of getting through most of my days. And I want to go through each item for those who are interested and sort of take a closer look at mostly the credit cards I carry, but also just my general philosophy on what I carry in my wallet overall. So, like I mentioned, I have this sort of very slim sleeve wallet. It's pretty straightforward. It's just one pocket actually. Some of them have like an additional pocket sort of here or here for sort of commonly accessed cards. It lets you get at some of them a little bit easier than digging into the main pocket of the wallet. But you'll see that I find it pretty easy to get everything out just in this main pocket, and it works well for me. First and foremost, on this side of the wallet, I actually have my driver's license and my health insurance card. That's them right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull those out off camera and get them out of the way. There's nothing really interesting to you all, but it does have some personal information. So first and foremost, between those cards and my credit cards, I like to carry a little bit of cash with me. So I find that for me, $50 is about the right amount. This usually is enough to get me out of a small bind of somewhere that doesn't take a credit card or uh, probably wouldn't want to take a credit card. If it's a really small business and it's a small charge, I'll usually try to avoid using a credit card when possible because they have to pay a small fee in order for me to do that. 50 bucks seems to be about the right amount, big enough that I can handle small emergencies, but small enough that I'm not carrying around tons of cash with me all at once. It'll cover a haircut, if I forget to withdraw cash from the ATM prior to a haircut, stuff like that. So this always comes with me. Obviously super slim. It's only one bill, so it's really easy to sneak in between my cards, even in a wallet like this. And I find that that works out well for me. Okay, next up are the cards. Uh, so some of you might be interested in this sort of thing, some might not. For those who aren't or don't know about it, uh, there's a community of people who really try to optimize what cards they carry in their wallet and try to make them work best for them. For some people, that's for travel. For some people, it's for cash back. Some people, a combination of the two. I'm sort of in the combination of the two camp for the most part. Um, I find that because I fly economy, cash back actually tends to be as valuable or sometimes more valuable than airline points for those sorts of flights. So it sort of varies, but this is what I have going here. So first and foremost is what some would call a Chase Trifecta. So for me, that trifecta is a Chase Freedom card, a Freedom Unlimited card, and a Chase Sapphire Preferred card. The Freedom card is a 5x cashback rotating category card. So the categories vary from month to month. This month is groceries and home improvement stores. Then you get 5x cashback, or in this case, points back, Chase Ultimate Rewards points. And then the Freedom Unlimited is a sort of flat rate 1.5x cash back on every purchase. And the Sapphire Preferred is 2x back on dining and 2x back on travel. The Sapphire Preferred also has a load of other benefits for travel, including various travel insurances, trip delay insurance, rental car insurance, things like that. It's super helpful just as a general travel tool, and I try to book all of my travel on that card. The beauty of all these three cards together is that when you have this card, it basically turns the cash back of these cards into points earning cards. So these earn what are called Chase Ultimate Rewards points, as well as this one. And then you can pool them all together on this card account when you're a card holder of all three. And then you can use those points all towards travel at an increased rate. We won't get too much into point valuations and things like that in this video. There are some other channels that do a really good job of going into depth of how to best use your points and how to basically get the most value out of them. I'm going to sort of stay at the top level here, but basically having these three cards together, pooling all the points onto the Chase Sapphire Preferred, leads to a pretty high level of travel value to me and to many others. So that's the Chase Trifecta as far as my wallet. I don't have any business cards or anything like that, but this seems to work out well for me so far. Next up is this. It's a City Diamond Preferred. You can see that it's pretty well worn. The Diamond Preferred name is actually pretty much worn off. I carry this partially because it's a MasterCard. My other Chase cards are obviously Visa cards, so having a MasterCard sort of as a counterpart to that helps when visas might not be accepted. That's super rare, but every once in a while it happens, and MasterCard comes in handy. This is basically a nothing card. There's nothing especially interesting about it. Um, I don't know that this would be a card that I would recommend to others. It was one of my first cards, so I've held on to it, but uh, yeah, it does the job, and it gives me an option that's not a Visa. Now, last and possibly most interesting is this. So this is the Cash App card. The Cash App, for those who don't know, is a lot like Venmo. It's sort of a peer-to-peer money transferring service, and you can load your Cash App balance just like your Venmo balance. And actually, this card pulls from that balance. So it's a Visa debit card. It's controllable via the app. And what is especially interesting about it is the boost categories. So they call them sort of boosts, and they apply kind of like credit card points or cash back um, categories would on a credit card. So in this case, you can actually choose which category is applied, but there's a catch. Only one category can be applied at a time. You can only make one such purchase every 30 minutes, and you can only change those categories every 24 hours. So let's say you have the Chipotle credit applied. That gives you a certain percentage off Chipotle, say 10% off Chipotle. But then you want to go to Starbucks right afterwards. There's a coffee boost, and it gives you $1 off every coffee purchase that's $1.50 or more. You can't do those two things right in a row the same day and can't get that benefit out of both. So it's sort of a trade off. The bonuses are pretty huge, but you can only use one at a time, more or less. So I have the coffee one applied, so it's $1 off every purchase that codes as coffee of $1.50 or more. So if you get, a $2 coffee or $3 coffee, you'll get it for $1 or $2 instead. And that's a pretty huge percentage off. And it basically wipes the floor with any cash back or points earning credit card. So that's part of the reason I carry this. The other reason is because it's a debit card and it lets me withdraw from ATMs without massive fees. Because it doesn't have sort of its own branch. There isn't a no fee ATM option for this card. But the beauty of it is that it allows me to carry a debit card that's a little bit more secure than, say, my Chase debit card, because this has a limited balance on it. This only has the balance that I've chosen to put into the app's balance. So say that's $100 or $150. If someone were to steal this or steal my wallet, the most that they'd have access to would be whatever I have in that account. And actually, I can shut this card down immediately using that app, if I have the ability to at that time. So it's a little bit more secure because of that. That's sort of an extra benefit. I have my Chase debit card that I could carry as well, but this has sort of the extra boost benefit and also works as a debit card. So I prefer to carry this generally. But yeah, this is sort of new for me. I'm enjoying it so far. It's free and it's pretty easy and doesn't come along with any of the credit impact or anything like that that a credit card would. So it's sort of a no-brainer if you're interested in trying something new and if any of the boost categories are valuable to you. So one thing worth mentioning is that this Chase Sapphire Preferred is likely to get upgraded very soon to a Chase Sapphire Reserve. So the Reserve gets a little bit more points back on travel and dining, but has a higher annual fee. It turns out if you work out the numbers and if you spend maybe about $2,000 a year on travel and dining each, then the Sapphire Reserve, although it has a higher annual fee, actually probably gives you more expected value positive than this Sapphire Preferred. So if you haven't run the numbers and if you're considering either card, really take that time, run the numbers, and see what you'd prefer. and what works out better for you overall financially. Uh, it might surprise you. I mean, the higher annual fee of the other tends to scare people away, but actually, when you work out the numbers, it turns out that if you travel a handful of times a year and eat out, a couple times a month, then that Sapphire Reserve actually might get you better value than this one does. But that change is coming up pretty soon, most likely, and I will update you guys when it does and let you know what I think of the two compared to each other. And yeah, excited for that. So after all that, everything slides really nicely back into this compact sleeve wallet. Works out really well for me. Your mileage may vary, but I find that this is a great fit for about 8 or so cards, and it fits super super easily into my front pocket and doesn't get in my way at all. It's really been a great match for the types of things I carry and the way I like to carry them. But yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot for stopping by for this video. If you enjoyed this, there will be more coming, and I might go into more detail again on that Chase Sapphire Reserve versus Preferred switch that's coming up pretty soon. So thanks again.